Hi, I'm Mark Westbrook from Acting Coach Scotland. What do you do if you are preparing for a screen acting gig? Unlike a stage acting job, you're not going to get the chance to rehearse. So that means that preparation for your screen acting gig is going to be very important. And at the same time, you want to make sure that you are ready to give the director what they want, so you're not so prepared that you have no flexibility, and bounce off the other actors. So we've got to be well prepared and yet remain flexible. I think one of the very first things you can do is to do what Natalie Portman advises, which is to take your script and take your scenes out and create your own little script of just your scenes, so that you have a clear journey through your character's journey in the script. And then what you need to do is you need to comb that script for what we would call the given circumstances, or what you could easily just call the facts. What do we know, or what can we reasonably surmise from reading the script? For instance, in the film Closer, Natalie Portman's character, Alice, when Dan breaks up with her, she asks, is it because she's clever? Well, we could surmise that Alice might feel inferior to the character of Anna, who Dan's having an affair with, because she's clever, or educated at least. And we know that the character of Alice is not someone who has a formal education. So we can surmise that she has an inferiority about her education. So we want to be like a detective, getting deep into the who are we, where are we, and what are we doing, and then all the facts, everything you can glean about your character. And the reason that that's so important is so that once you start acting the scene, you're liberated. You want to be free of having to think about those facts, but you also want to make sure that your whole performance is in line with those given circumstances, so you're not just making shit up. You're like a detective, right? Unpeeling the script and trying to find the clues. And the longer you can spend on that, the better. If I'm honest, I'm not sure actors read their scripts often enough and deeply enough. I often think what happens is that they read their part and start imagining how to act it, which is great. And it's a really important part of your role to use your imagination to bring the character to life. But we also need that period of understanding where we pull back what's hidden in the script and learn deeply about our characters. The other thing, probably the big thing, is what does your character want? Now, that's a very simple question. There's always been these kind of questions in acting, right? There's always been this question of the objective, the goal, the want. But I think you should break it into 3 parts. I actually think you should break it down into think, feel, and do. And I think that appeals to different types of actors, but I think you should do all 3. But I think it appeals to different types of actors. Those who connect more easily with the idea of thought, those with feeling, and those with action. So what do we mean by thought? Well, we mean like a speech bubble above the head of the character you're speaking to. And it would be a bit like a piece of dialogue. Oh, this guy's for real. Or, I like this guy. Or, oh, I like this guy. Okay, what thoughts? And therefore you start taking action towards that thought. How could I put that thought in their head? Well, the next one is feel, like an emotion or feeling. What do I want to make you feel? I want to make you feel guilty. Do I want you to trust me? Do I want you to feel sad or excited? Again, when I think about it, I instinctively know how to try and make you feel like that. So if I've got that, I've got a target, another target. I've got the thought, and now I've got a feeling. And finally, we've got the do. So what action do I want that other character to take? So when they trust me, they'll think he's a good guy. And when they think he's a good guy, they'll lend me the money. So you can see that they connect together to give you a broader sense of an objective or a goal or a want for the scene. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is bombs. So I think that every scene has one or more bombs in it. It's a moment when there's a mini explosion in the scene. Usually something is revealed. It's usually a new piece of information that really affects the scene, and nothing is quite the same after it. If you take the film Proof, there's a scene in which we get just a series of bombs after bombs, like, what you want me to move to New York with me? You're selling the house. You want me to go see a psychiatrist? There's just this series of bombs for the character of Catherine, and you can see that the writer is leading up to those. So they push energy towards that. So before a bomb, you can kind of feel the scene speeding up or getting more intense at least. And then there's the bomb. And after the bomb, there needs to be a moment of silence. A moment of shock when that what was revealed in that bomb is basically being thought about. They're still trying to process it. And after that silence, usually the scene takes a new direction. So that's bombs. Look in your scenes for where there is the bomb. It's the easiest way to understand how the writer has constructed the scene. The next one is dynamics. And this is a really broad topic, so I can't really cover this in enough detail. What I mean is that audience members love change. I think there's a part of the brain which loves novelty. And when something changes in front of them, it grasps their attention. So change equals holding the audience's attention. Now, the audience's attention is as fragile and as capable of running all over the place as everybody else is. So without quite frequent changes, the audience's attention gets bored. The audience member starts to think about other things. So there are lots of different dynamics that can help you with that. The easiest way to think is that the beginning of the scene and the end of the scene, the characters in that scene should have changed quite a lot. Or what's the purpose of the scene? From the beginning to the end of the scene, we go on a journey. Something new is usually revealed. There's some kind of bomb, and it pushes the characters into a whole different place. Now, these changes can be in the form of emotional dynamics that change from the beginning to the end of the scene. Maybe you're sad at the beginning of the scene, but by the end, you're happy. Maybe you're happy at the beginning of the scene, and by the end, you're sad. Actually, if you take a look at Finding Nemo, you will find that every single scene works beautifully along that pattern. You could think of it as plus to minus or minus to plus, and then the next one picks up. So it goes plus, minus, minus, plus, minus, minus, plus. So you get a sense that that's how you take the audience on a journey, because they go with you from the plus to the minus, or the minus to the plus, from the positive to the negative. Of course, intentions can change within a scene. You start off wanting this, but by the end of the scene, you want something else. Thoughts are the smallest changes. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's not a single piece of dialogue where you speak more than one sentence that doesn't indicate a change of thought. So often you'll get actors to sort of read almost a chunk of text in a way that just seems like it all means the same thing. But of course, every little change is there. Punctuation is a great indicator that something is changing. Remember when if a character says yes, 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 3 yeses. Why would they write 3 yeses if the intention was the same for all of them? Because 1 yes would be enough, surely. So each of those yeses must have a different intention. Think about if you talk to a dog and you say, no, no. Well, that second no had more of a stopping intention, whereas the first no had a warning intention. So every line has to change. So that's the smallest level of change. Now, that's on a small level, but on a big level, the energy that you use in a scene and the pace changes that occur within the scene are also a type of dynamic shift that grabs the audience's attention. So these are just some of the ways you can look at the scene and think about what's changing. That's your preparation. That's your chance to imagine the potential changes within the scene and how you can bring the scene to life by using them. The last thing, and this is going to seem really obvious, but it's amazing how many people prepare their lines in a half-hearted way, almost giving themselves permission to semi-improvise or paraphrase the lines. And maybe on set, your director's cool with that. But generally, we're not the best paraphrasers, and we're probably not as good at paraphrasing as the writers are at creating wonderful dialogue. So really spend the time to get those lines in your head so that you feel, and that's the important part, so that you feel confident in your preparation. When you step onto the set and you feel prepared, then you can improvise. When you go onto the set and you've got your lines down, then yeah, you know that you have confidence in what you're going to say. And the other actors will also know that they can be confident in you because they're not trying to say their lines off your improvised lines. Now, if we can help you in any way prepare for a film role, like we do on many occasions, why don't you get in touch with us at the studio? Or if you've got any questions, why don't you drop us an email at hello@actingcoachscotland.co.uk.